Welcome back to Inside Out Precision, guys. Today we're reviewing the VXR 28. So last week we did the 31.5. Seems to be a really popular bow, but people wanted to see what the 28 can do. So there's a lot of similarities between the two, but a few key differences. So if you're looking for a really compact, maneuverable hunting bow, you won't want to miss this review. We'll be back real quick. Oh yeah. All right, so this is the 2020 VXR 28. Get into the technical specs first. So as the name would suggest, it is 28 inches axle to axle. The speed rating on this is actually 344, so 1 foot a second faster than the 31.5. Still a 6-inch brace height, just like the 31.5. This weighs 4.44 pounds is what it's listed as on Mathews website. So they lightened it up. Still has the switch weight mod system, so I can make it a 60, 65, 70, or 75 pound peak just in the module. There's not different limb options, it's just modules, and then I can back it down from there. So on these bows, the poundage goes up and down really quick, so I can get a 60 pound bow down to like 30 pounds if I wanted to. Really cool little bow. So kind of get into some of the things they did differently. So it has the new riser design, just like the 31. They caged the upper portion here, and so it lightened it up, but it's more where they took the weight away from. So by removing the weight right above the grip right here, it really eliminates that kind of top heavy feel that a lot of people complained about with Mathews, especially when you get a quiver full of arrows on there for hunting. And then they've got a lot of different riser bridges here. The riser is a little bit narrower up at the top here than it was on like the triax. So again, they're cutting a little bit of mass weight there. But then the way that they bridge it here, you still have a very stiff riser. I'm not getting any flex out of this, and a stiff riser is critical A to accuracy, consistency, and how that bow is going to aim and feel. So the 28 inch axle to axle, I get asked all the time, guys saying, well, what's better for me? The 31.5 or the 28? And really it's going to come down to personal preference, but I generally have a rule of thumb that I don't like to shoot a bow that is shorter axle to axle than my draw length is long. So I think this bow is going to be really popular with guys with a 28 inch draw length and under. And the reason for that is just the string angle when I get to full draw. When you start getting a draw length longer than the bow is long, that string angle gets really severe. And even when I come in and the draw length is good, if my fingers the string here, I feel like I have to duck to get my nose on the string. So generally, if guys are in that 28.5 to 30, 31 range, I'm going to steer them towards the 31.5. But this bow, especially if you have like a 25.5, 26, 27 inch draw length, you're going to get a lot of performance out of this bow. And that string angle will not be as severe, obviously, the shorter that the draw length is. So, it's not a bow that I would shoot because I have a 30 inch draw length, and I shot the triax, which was 28 inches, and it's not inherently less accurate. I mean, out of a machine, this bow is going to shoot the same hole just like the 31.5 will, but the aiming portion of the shot seemed to kind of go away. I fought aiming the triax a lot more than I fought like aiming the traverse, and I didn't really realize it until I got the traverse in my hand, which is 33 axle to axle, and then was like, oh, like that's how that pin is supposed to sit there. So I really think it's going to be determined by what your draw length is and what you're looking for in a bow. If I'm hunting out of a tree stand and I'm going to be, most of my shots 20, 30, 40 yards, steep angles and stuff, where I'm shooting really far downhill like this, this isn't going to get into my leg or a rail of the tree stand or anything. It's really compact and maneuverable. Even spot and stock stuff, the less I have to clunk around while I'm belly crawling, that can be a key factor for a lot of people. The riser it's not quite as long as the riser on the Vertix, but it is longer than the riser on the triax. So even though this bow is the same axle to axle, it is going to aim more similar to the Vertix than it will the triax. The Vertix, when I held these up together, the Vertix was about an inch, probably longer, 1.25 inches maybe. But this is a good 1.25 inches longer than the triax riser. You know, they have the same 3D dampening system here, and it's not just a gimmick. Like this little design here, it really does a good job. This bow is extremely quiet, it's extremely smooth. I did notice it has a little bit stiffer draw cycle than the 31.5. It stacks kind of right in the back, and that is just due to the shorter axle to axle. I think with any company, you know, the shorter the bow, generally the stiffer it's going to draw. And that just has to do with the geometry and how, you know, the angle that the string is pulling on those cams to get them to roll over. That being said, it's not uncomfortable. I mean, it's still a comfortable bow to shoot. So really cool design from Mathews. If you haven't seen the review on the 31.5, go check that out. You can kind of get a apples to apples comparison of these two. I'm going to shoot it at the same draw lengths with the same arrows. So this is going to be 70 pounds, 30 inches, and then 70 pounds. And actually, I might go shorter. I think I might actually shoot this at 27 because I think, like I said, a lot of guys that are going to be shooting this are going to have the shorter draw lengths. So I think I'm actually going to shoot this one at 27 and see what it can do with a 510 grain down to like a 376 grain arrow. So I'm going to go get the chronograph set up and we'll see what this little bugger can do. All right, so I got the chronograph set up here. I'm going to do this first test at 27 inches. So this is 27 inches, 27 inches, 70 pounds. And this is the VXR 28. So like I said, I think most of the people shooting this are going to have kind of the shorter draw length range. Seems to be, once guys get over that 28.5, 29, they start going to the longer bow. So this review is going to be at the shorter draw length because I always get questions on it. So this first arrow is 509 grains. .259, so 27 inches, 260 feet a second, basically, pretty good. This next one is 475 grain arrow. .264. This is a 442 grain arrow. .285, so big jump there. This is a 421 grain arrow. So this would be like a really common weight that somebody at this draw length would probably be shooting with like an Axis 340 or 400. .291. And then this is a 376 grain arrow. Right at 300, 299. So pretty darn good speeds. Kind of again, what impresses me more about that is what it did at the lower or the heavier arrow weight. So it seems like a pretty efficient cam. There's only about a 5 foot a second jump between like a 500 and a 475 grain arrow. So it doesn't drop off when you start tanking that arrow weight. That's probably heavier than a lot of people with that draw length would shoot, but there are people out there that do it. So that's why I like to do the full range of weights there. So I'm gonna go throw the longer mods on this now. I'm gonna do it, I think I'm gonna do it at 29 actually, instead of 30. Because again, I don't think anybody with a 30-inch draw is gonna be shooting this bow. Or there might be, but if you're looking for the 30-inch speeds, just watch the VXR 31 review because they're only 1 foot a second difference in IBO. So I'm gonna go change out the mods and we'll shoot this at a little bit longer draw length. All right, so I got the mods changed out. I'm doing 29 on this. So usually I do 20, 30 and 28. Today I'm doing 27 and 29. So give you a little bit of a different idea, kind of more common draw lengths, especially with the bow, this axle to axle. So 29 inches, 70 pounds, first arrow, again, 509 grains. Yeah, right there, it just stacks a little bit, but not bad. 271, so 10 feet a second with a 2-inch longer draw with a 500 grain arrow. So that's really good speed for that heavy of an arrow. Next arrow this is 475. 284. That's moving. This is 442. Be a really common arrow. Weight at this draw length. 294. So we're just jumping like 10 feet a second on pretty much every arrow. This next one is 420. Or 421 actually. 299. So pushing that 300 mark with that arrow, and then this is going to be 376. So this should be well over 300. Oh man. Yep, 311. So really efficient. I mean, literally every single arrow weight just jumped up like 10 feet a second. So those are really good speeds. I mean, nobody's gonna be disappointed with that. Like I said, it's a really efficient cam system. So if you are in a shorter draw length, you know, this bow goes 25.5 to 30. So if you're in that 25.5, 27, 28, this bow is gonna give you really good speeds. It's gonna be really comfortable at full draw. And I think it's gonna be a shooter for sure. Obviously, you know, Mathews quality never fails. I never see anything come back manufactured anyway. In terms of manufactured defects, I never see anything wrong with these. Obviously, if a guy dry fires it, you know, you can bend cams, modules, whatnot. But really cool little bow. So there you have it. That's the VXR 28. Feel free to comment below if you have any more questions. Hit us up on Instagram at inside_out_precision. I generally see Instagram comments sooner than I do YouTube comments. YouTube comments sometimes kind of get lost in the mix. And so, you know, if you have a pressing question, hit us up on Instagram. I also want to say, I still get questions on when I was running my hunting setup, like what boots I like and clothing I like. And I made a video back in August about that. And actually the links to the pants and the boots and the socks and a bunch of stuff that I use, there's links to Amazon to buy that stuff. And it doesn't cost you anymore, but Amazon gives us a small kickback. So if you need some new gear and you want to support the channel, it's a win-win. Really killing two birds with one stone. So thanks for watching. As usual, keep them in the middle, and I'll see you on the range.